Hi, this is Ling Nguyen and welcome to Google and Shipping and Shipping2030 Asia TV. We're here with Gijsbert De-Jong from Bureau Veritas. Very nice to have you here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So having chaired the day, how is the maritime leadership adapting to digital changes and how do they see innovation in your opinion?
We had a very interesting first day, talking a lot about digital transformation in all its different aspects. Starting the day off with a look into the more future-like possibilities of artificial intelligence, and then having several sessions where we talk more about what does it mean for the shipping industry and what can we do with it. And the leadership discussion was a very important one because it is the discussion which actually frames the shipping companies, but also the supplier industries and everything around the shipping companies on what are the things we can actually do, realistically speaking, for finding a balance between the opportunities which are there to improve business, either through efficiency optimization or through new business models or altogether new services, or on the other hand, balancing it with the constraints of daily operations. Shipping is a volatile, cyclic industry with ups and with downs. We are coming from a fairly deep down, and that means that many shipping companies are still relatively constrained in what they can do and especially what they can spend. So I think the leadership of shipping companies is very much looking into finding that balance between what is realistic to do within the means we are having available and what would be then our goals, what do we want to achieve with that. And a lot of our discussions were on setting the strategy, but also on once we have that strategy, how can we actually work with our companies, with partners, but also with our internal organization to do the change management? How can we make sure that people in our organization are buying into these changes, that they see the necessities and are willing to help to make it a success? Because one of the keywords of digitalization is collaboration, and that only works if you have buy-in. So a lot of the leadership discussion was on finding the balance and how do you get the buy-in.
And you've also discussed connectivity, and I'm just wanting to ask, is connectivity a disruptive technology in shipping? What can we learn from that?
I don't think connectivity is that much of a disruptive effect. It is helping. And actually in one of the panel discussions, a very interesting thing came out, which was kind of shared by everybody, is that the shipping industry has not been an innovator in terms of digitalization. In fact, it is an industry which is doing a catch-up on a number of industries which are much more ahead in this. And in that respect, it is the connectivity which actually helps us to do stuff which other industries have already done before. Shipping is a very old industry. I mean, without digitalization, we can still move goods from one place to another. But in order to do so efficiently and in an integrated logistics way, the connectivity helps us now to really accelerate the process of efficiency improvement and logistics overall improvement. I don't think it's really disruptive, therefore, but I do think it is, let's say, helping us to accelerate the catch-up. And that is quite interesting. So smart ships and connected ships, the Internet of Things part of it, is really gaining traction now in the shipping business.
What are the challenges that come with implementing connectivity, especially on vessels?
The main challenge is basically, again, it's a balance issue between having enough bandwidth. I mean, you never have enough bandwidth in principle, but there is a cost to that bandwidth. So it is important to get as much as you can, but for a price which is affordable in order to make the business improvement you were searching to do. Otherwise there is no return on investment and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So bandwidth is the main challenge in a way, but it's also a matter of prioritizing. We have on board business critical information which needs to be shared, but there is no way you can get around that. That's the first priority you have. But then you have also the IoT side of things, the fact that devices on board, systems on board are more and more instrumented and connected, and which helps us to improve their performance and to do the maintenance optimization. And we have, and that's a key aspect which was discussed today, crew welfare. There is people on board, and those people are away from home for months on end, and they have certain expectations, especially in today's society, of being connected to devices in order to be connected to their friends and family and have access to platforms which we all use on a daily basis, and that's not at sea. But in order to do so, again, it's a bandwidth issue. So it's a matter of getting enough bandwidth, balancing the priorities right, and potentially, and that's a quite interesting thing which came out of the discussions today, doing some of the analytics we do now on shore in the future on the vessel. And edge computing is going to help us to make that possible. So that's kind of the next thing in terms of innovation.
We've also had quite a lot about smart ships here and throughout the year as well, with a lot of smart items that can be found on ships now. So is there enough technology for shipping to build a smart ship?
Well, yes, it depends a bit on how you define a smart ship. We had an interesting panel discussion on that, where we asked all 4 panelists to define in their mind what is smart ship, and they kind of got a consensus of that. In principle, the building blocks are kind of in place. Again, bandwidth would be helpful, but it's not only about bandwidth at all, because that is mainly the connectivity part. But we can already go very far in terms of automating navigational systems on board of ships. So the smart ship from a navigational viewpoint is getting quite close. And at the same time, we can also do more and more on the level of systems and systems integration on board. So the technology is not 100% there. There is still stuff which is under development, if you like, but the basic building blocks are existing today. But let's say the rate of implementation of the changes and the new technologies will be gradual, as it is also a matter of business efficiency and especially of cost. It depends on what kind of industry, what kind of part of the business you're in, what is constituting the majority of your cost. And for example, in a lot of the transportation industry, it's fuel which is more important than capex or cost of people. So that is then driving a completely different discussion of where to optimize. So is the technology in place? Overall, it's quite advanced, with some elements still being in an experimental stage. But the rate of implementation, the speed of that, will be guided by principles of return on investment and other considerations than just the technological possibilities.
Gijsbert, thank you very much for being here with us.
Most welcome, thank you.